Today we're going to take a look at practicing some more solving inequalities. Same process as solving equations, except for that one difference. If you end up multiplying or dividing by a negative, you flip that inequality. So yesterday we saw some 2 steps. Today we're going to take a look at some that might require more than 2 steps. Alright, so in this case, and I actually don't think I have this as my first step, I want to combine like terms. I see a 6x plus a 6x, so I'm going to add those together to get 12x plus 2 is less than 14. And then you just follow the golden rule of algebra to isolate the variable. So to get x alone, I want to start by following order of operations backwards to cancel. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. 12x is less than 12. And here's where I need to think about what I'm dividing by. Adding and subtracting, I never need to think. The inequality doesn't flip. Here, I'm dividing both sides by 12. 12 is positive, so the inequality stays as a less than. We looked at that, and then the last part is to graph. Because an inequality has more than one solution, we want to show all of those solutions on a number line. So we put our solution in the middle of the number line, open circle for just less than or greater than, and x is less than 1, so I'm going to shade to the left. And you can always test a solution to see if it works, especially when the variable is on the right side. You might want to do this, but if I take, for example, 0, substitute it into my inequality for x, is that a true statement? Is 0 less than 1? Yes, so it works. Alright, same process. This time I'm going to distribute first, and then follow the golden rule of algebra. So I'm going to subtract my 12. The 3 is attached to the x, so I can't take care of the 3 until I get rid of that 12. 7 minus 12 is negative 5. To solve, now I'm going to divide by negative 3. I'm dividing by a negative, so my inequality needs to flip. The only thing that I can do to simplify that fraction is to cancel the negative, so I have x is less than 5/3. I don't think we've seen graphing a fraction yet, so let me show you how this works. You still put the solution in the middle. You put one number bigger in the numerator only, and one number smaller in the numerator only off to each side. Another open circle, because x is just less than, and less than shades left. So on this one, in order to test, if you wanted to, I wouldn't pick 4/3. I'd pick a number that I know is smaller than 5/3, and that's 0. And what we should actually be doing is testing it in the original inequality to make sure we solved it right. And then we ask ourselves, is this true? So when I use order of operations, 4 minus 0 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Is 12 greater than 7? Yes. So I got a solution that works. Same process on this one. I'm going to start by distributing on the left-hand side. 10x minus 8 greater than or equal to 6x plus 12. Now here's a little hint. In order to not have a negative variable so that we don't have to worry about this step, because that's a step that students tend to forget, when you are getting your variables together, when they're on different sides of the inequality, always move the smaller coefficient. So I've got a 10x and a 6x. So I'm going to move the 6x because it's smaller than 10. 10x minus 6x is 4x. If you always move the smaller coefficient, then you will always end up with a positive coefficient for your variable, and you won't have to worry about flipping that inequality. Adding 8 to both sides, we get 4x is greater than or equal to 20, and dividing both sides by 4, we get x is greater than or equal to 5. So graphing this one, 5 goes in the middle, we have 6 and 4 on either side. This time it's an or equal to, so we're going to close the circle. X is greater than, so we're going to shade to the right. A couple more for this video, and then in the next video we'll see some special solutions. So here now I've got like terms on both sides of the inequality. 5x plus 2x on the left-hand side gives me 7x minus 11. 2x plus 7x is 9x minus 7. Make sure you're only combining your like terms, that you don't combine x terms with number terms. Those aren't like terms. Again, in order to get my x's together, I want to move the variable with the smaller coefficient. So I'm going to move 7x. So I get negative 11, don't drop that negative sign, less than or equal to 2x minus 7. We cancel my minus 7 this time. So we get negative 11 plus 7 is negative 4, less than or equal to 2x. And I'm dividing by a positive, so I don't have to worry about flipping that inequality. But when I set up my number line to show my solution, x is on kind of the wrong side of the inequality, so be careful when you're graphing this one. Closed circle, because it's the or equal to, and read it backwards, x is greater than or equal to negative 2, so I'm going to shade to the right. And this is one especially where you might want to take a point and test it. So I'm going to check negative 1. Actually, 0 would be easier. I don't have to check right next to it. 0. If I put 0 in for x in my original inequality and check to see if this is true. 0 is a really easy number to use if you can figure out which side it's on, if it's on the right side of your shading. 5 times 0 is 0, so I get negative 11, less than or equal to, all of these times zeros cancel. Now because they're both negative, it's a little bit tricky to think about, but negative 11 is less than or equal to, it's less than negative 7, so that was true. All right, last example for this video. We are going to again start by distributing on both sides of the equal sign. Inequality symbol. On the right-hand side, we've got some like terms. The negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. So now when I get my variables together, I want to move the coefficient that's smaller. So we get 8 is greater than 3x minus 1. Adding 1 to both sides. And dividing everything by 3, a positive 3, so that we don't have to worry about flipping that inequality symbol. And finally graphing, again, x is on, maybe I should make sure that I'm using the right number. X is on the wrong side of the inequality. We have an open circle because it's just a greater than or less than. Reading it backwards, x is less than 3, so we're going to shade to the left.